Of course! Here is a full long story based on the superhero title, The Giggling Guardian. The Giggling Guardian and the Case of the Gloomy Gloop. In the merry town of Chuckleburg, where laughter was as common as sunshine, lived a girl named Chloe. Chloe had a laugh that was absolutely contagious. It wasn't a quiet giggle or a polite chuckle. It was a full-bodied, snort-inducing, belly-aching guffaw that made anyone who heard it instantly smile. Chloe's best friend was a boy named Ben, who was her complete opposite. Ben was practical, sensible, and loved facts. He carried a notebook labeled Perfectly Logical Explanations wherever he went. He liked Chloe's laugh, but he always tried to find the scientific reason for why it was so infectious. It must be the unique pitch and frequency, combined with a surprising cadence, he'd mutter, scribbling in his notebook. One Tuesday, something very illogical happened. A thick, sticky, gloomy silence fell over Chuckleburg. It started in the town's famous joke shop. The whoopee cushions deflated with a sad sigh. The rubber chickens went stiff. The trick flowers stopped squirting water and just hung their heads, dripping a murky gray gloop. The gloop began to spread, oozing down the streets. Wherever it went, it sucked the joy right out of the air. The bakery's freshly baked cream pies suddenly seemed silly and were thrown away. The park's swing sets creaked mournfully instead of squeaking with joy. People walked around with long, dreary faces, their shoulders slumped. They had completely forgotten how to laugh. Chloe felt the change immediately. It felt like a heavy blanket was smothering the town. She tried to laugh, but it came out as a weak little, "Huh." Ben was at her side, his notebook already open. "Fascinating and highly troublesome," Ben said, adjusting his glasses. "This anomalous gloop appears to be a catalyst for severe atmospheric joy reduction. We must find the source and contain it." As they turned a corner, they saw the worst of it. A giant walking pile of the murky gloop was shambling down Main Street. It had two sad, droopy eyes and a frowny mouth. It was a Gloom-Gloop, and with every sludgy step it took, it reached out a oozy tentacle to smear gloop on anything fun. A colorful mural, a radio playing cheerful music, a group of kids about to play tag. The kids immediately stopped, sighed, and went to sit sadly on a bench. "We have to stop it," Chloe whispered. "Agreed," said Ben. "But how?" "My calculations suggest water might dilute it. Or perhaps a strong vacuum?" Before Ben could devise a perfectly logical plan, the Gloom-Gloop spotted them. It let out a burbling, gurgling groan that made them feel instantly sleepy and sad. A tentacle of gloop shot toward Ben's beloved notebook. "Ben, look out!" Chloe cried. She leaped in front of her friend. The gloop was about to touch her, and a wave of overwhelming gloom washed over her. She thought about never laughing again, never playing again. It was awful. But then she thought about Ben losing his notebook and how ridiculous he looked when he tried to explain why a joke was funny. A tiny spark of her usual joy fought its way up through the sadness. Instead of a scream, a small giggle escaped her lips. "Heh, heh, heh." The moment she giggled, something incredible happened. A shimmering golden sound wave, visible like a ripple in the air, shot from her mouth and hit the Gloom-Gloop's tentacle. The tentacle didn't melt or explode. It tickled. The gloop jiggled and wiggled. The droopy eyes blinked in confusion. The frowny mouth twitched. Ben stared, his scientific mind reeling. Fascinating! The vibrational frequency of laughter appears to have a destabilizing effect on its molecular structure. Chloe saw it work. She felt a power she never knew she had bubbling up inside her. She took a deep breath and thought of the funniest thing she could imagine: Ben trying to eat a spaghetti ice cream cone. She let out her full, powerful, snort-inducing guffaw, ha 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 ho, hee hee snort. A massive wave of shimmering golden laughter erupted from her. It swirled around her, forming a costume made of swirling, colorful joy, a jacket that looked like a jester's, shoes that curled upwards, and a mask that looked like a smiling emoji. She was no longer just Chloe, she was the Giggling Guardian. Her laughter hit the Gloom-Gloop like a hurricane of happiness. The creature didn't stand a chance. It began to jiggle uncontrollably. Its gloomy groans turned into surprised gurgles, then into hiccups, and finally into a deep, rumbling blorf of a laugh. Blorf, ha ha. Gurgle, hee hee. It shook and quivered, and with every laugh it shrank. The gloomy gray gloop turned a bright, cheerful blue. It shrank from a giant monster to a puddle, to a small, happy, bouncy blob that looked like a joyful blueberry with a big smile. The gloop it had spread all over town instantly dried up and flaked away like confetti. The whoopee cushions reinflated with a triumphant pah. The rubber chickens went floppy. The trick flowers squirted water high into the air. All over Chuckleburg, people shook their heads, smiled, and then burst out laughing for no reason at all, the joy flooding back into the town. The little blue blob of joy bounced happily at the Giggling Guardian's feet. She reached down and picked it up. It felt warm and fizzy like a soda pop. Ben walked up to her, his eyes wide with awe. My initial hypothesis was incorrect. The solution wasn't logical at all. It was emotional. Your laughter is a potent, transformative energy force. He finally smiled, a real, genuine, unscientific smile. It's a superpower, Chloe. Chloe, still in her Giggling Guardian costume, grinned. The best superpower. She looked at the happy blob in her hands. But what do we do with you, little guy? The blob gave a cheerful jiggle and bounced out of her hand. It landed on the ground and began to roll through the town, leaving a faint, shimmering trail of glitter behind it. Wherever it rolled, flowers grew brighter and laughter sounded a little louder. From that day on, Chloe was Chuckleburg's secret guardian. Whenever a case of the grumps threatened to spread, or a case of the Mondays seemed too powerful, a familiar sound would ring through the streets. Ha ha ha, hoo hoo hee hee snort. The Giggling Guardian was on the case, armed with the most powerful weapon of all, a laugh that could light up the world. And Ben was always by her side, notebook in hand, ready to record the illogical, wonderful power of pure, joyful laughter.